Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Greetings and salutations. You are tuning into the Kevin Jackson Show. My name is Brett Segal, the Disgruntled Millennial. Subbing in for the great Kevin Jackson. I always broadcast to you live from my safe space down here in northern Florida, where I'm always free from your bigotry, racism, hatred, microaggressions, and patriarchy. Unfortunately, I'm not always free from your hypocrisy. Now, one of the things I wanted to talk about today was my own red pill experience. Now, for those of you who don't know what a red pill experience is, it's an allusion to the movie called The Matrix, where if you take the blue pill, you basically stay asleep, unawares of all the hypocrisies and all of the vicissitudes of real life. And if you take the red pill, you get to wake up into a dark and nasty, disgusting reality, but at least you know the truth. Now, one of the things that sparked me into, I had a few red pill moments, to be honest. One of the red pill moments that I had was while I was filming a music video. That's one of the things that I do. I film music videos and I write music and produce music. I was filming a music video. Basically, it was a parody video, a satire about being Jewish. Now, if you're interested in watching this video, you can YouTube I'm effing Jewish yo, except don't type effing. You want to actually type out the entire word. I'm effing Jewish yo. It's a video basically about a proud Jew who goes out there and basically flaunts all of the stereotypes about being Jewish, which is sort of one of the funny things that we try to do in order to turn a lot of the stereotypes on their heads. And one of the scenes from this music video is basically me being held by terrorists in a mock beheading. One of those, remember those beheading videos that ISIS used to do, where they would take a journalist, or they would take a Jew, or they would take a Christian and burn them alive, or cut their heads off right on camera. And we were basically filming this scene in the music video. It was a mock beheading, and we were kind of being a little bit flippant about it. And one of the things that happened during the filming of that video was Steven Sotloff and James Foley were literally being held captive, and this had happened to them. And we sort of took a look at the scene that we had just filmed a few days ago, and we basically sort of we had to backtrack a little bit because we didn't want it to seem like we were making fun of this or like we were making light out of this. And one of the things, and it was just a little bit serendipitous because we filmed the scene shortly before another journalist was beheaded. And it was just one of those moments for me where I had to really stop and think about what it was that we were doing, about the kind of message that we were getting across. And it started out as sort of a, more like self-deprecating humor. And we turned it into sort of the exact opposite. We turned it into, it was a little bit self-deprecating, but at the same time, it was, we were exalting the idea of being Jewish, that being Jewish is a good thing, that being Jewish is an awesome thing. And it was that moment that I sort of had this red pill moment, because I could see at that time that Barack Obama had no intention of holding ISIS responsible or holding Islam responsible for the let's just say the institutional hatred against anyone who is not Muslim in Islam. And it was one of those moments where we really had to stop and think, how are we going to put this out there? Are we going to put this out there in terms of this self-deprecating humor that might give ammunition to people, to folks who already hate the Jews? Or are we going to put this out there as though sort of like an FU to people who might, chop your head off? So that was definitely one of those moments. But there was another moment shortly after that, because we released that video in Hanukkah of 2014, okay, which is around wintertime, which is around the time that we usually do our annual family reunion. Now, a little bit of backstory. I have family who is in politics. My family on my mother's side, my mother's sister's kids, they're all into politics, and you probably might have heard of one of them, because this was really, really essential for one of my red pill moments. There was a family reunion that I went to shortly after we released the video, and the reunion was filled up with these political shills like Gene Sperling and his nephew Eric Sperling, who works for John Conyers Jr., the one of the founding members of the Congressional Black Caucus, the most racist organization in our government. He works directly for these people. So I'm just sort of a lowly music engineer, songwriter, and I've got these family members who are big into politics, whose jobs revolve around politics. Gene Sperling had an office in the White House. He was the economic czar, the chief economic advisor to both President Clinton and President Obama, and had Hillary Clinton been elected, he would have been her chief economic advisor. Now think about what that means. My family members are writing laws for this country. I have a family member, Gene Sperling, who actually helped write Obamacare, who wrote the laws that are basically taking away your stuff. Not only did he help write these laws, in between the Clinton and the Obama administration, he was a shill for socialism, for Democrats. He basically wrote a book called The Pro-Growth Progressive, which he knows to be an oxymoron. But he wanted everyone to think it was basically a book that was bullying conservatives into basically handing over their own money and their own right to their own resources and to their own earnings, and basically bullying conservatives into passing laws that are more progressive. So in other words, he was reaching out to the rhinos, because he couldn't really reach out to real conservatives, because real conservatives would see right through that business. Okay, so let's try to keep things in focus here. Every year, I go to a family reunion with Gene Sperling and the entire family, all of the Sperlings. Gene Sperling's brother, who runs a extreme leftist theater troupe in Detroit, where they basically pluck little black kids off the street and teach them how to hate white people. His nephew, Eric Sperling, works for John Conyers, the one of the founders of the Congressional Black Caucus, who's basically had tenure as a congressman for the last 40 years or something. I don't know why. The guy talks like he's brain dead. And then you have Gene Sperling, office in the White House. He had an office in the White House for longer than Clinton and Obama combined, because he worked for both of them. Okay, so when you think of all these leftist laws, these leftist economic laws that are screwing over the middle class, look no further than Gene Sperling, because he helped write these things. And this is who I spend these family reunions with, okay? This is not your normal average family reunion. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that when we get back. Get me at Shaq General. This is Brett Segal, the Disgruntled Millennial.
This is the Kevin Jackson Radio Show.
Do you owe back taxes to the IRS or state? The secret to avoiding the IRS nightmare is to seek professional representation. My friends at Security Tax Associates provide the most cost-effective and ethical representation in the industry while helping to avoid seizures, levies, and wage garnishments. Security Tax Associates is here to ensure that the appropriate steps are taken to permanently eliminate any possibility of future tax burdens once and for all. For a free, no-obligation consultation, contact Security Tax Associates, 844-779-4177. That's 844-779-4177. 844-779-4177. Or visit them at securitytaxassociates.com.
Beth Cook Moranville, author of Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope.
Hope, that wonderful, wonderful four-letter word that you may feel completely out of. I wrote this book to give you great hope. It's not too late. If fetal position is an all too familiar place for you, I understand. If the next 60 seconds are too long, this book is for you. Wherever you are right now, whether you're dealing with divorce or death or sickness, take hope. You are going to make it through this pain. Don't roll your eyes. I've walked this road and I know it. The best is yet to come.
Closer Than Your Breath, a book of hope from author and speaker Beth Cook Moranville, can be found on Amazon.com or Kindle.com. For more information, visit closerthanyourBreath.com or on Facebook at Closer Than Your Breath.